Hi, I'm Karis.
And I'm Caitlin.
Today we're talking about rapture anxiety.
And that's what happens when church hits the fan.
I don't know any songs related to the rapture.
Daylight.
Although,
Oh man,
where's my phone?
I do, but I can't think of them.
I forgot my phone. I told my friend Valerie we were recording this, and she sent me this DC Talk song I've never heard. That was
What
about
if
the
that's what I'm
rapture.
thinking of? Oh my gosh, yeah, there were several.
She sent me just the lyrics of it, and I was like, oh my god, it was so dark.
I was going to say there were a couple of songs about the rapture on the Left Behind movie.
Oh yeah, that's basically the whole episode is the Left Behind movie.
Karis lived Kirk Cameron.
Except for when you're older like me, you've also got the trauma of Thief in the Night.
I've heard about it. Thankfully, no one ever showed it to me.
It was so traumatic.
Yeah, dude, I freaking bet. What's up, guys? Today we have a guest in the studio, if that's what we want to call this place. And we have Jess Howell with us today. She is, hi, Jess. You can introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. I'm Jess.
She is a friend of ours, and she also goes to our church that we go to now.
Yes, and she's a PK.
I am.
Yes. And she is you were homeschooled too, correct?
Yes, I was.
So you've got double the credentials.
Double
Credentials, double the weirdness, double the stories.
I think that sometimes I wonder if like church kids, like we sit here, we think we're being funny and everything, and people are listening, God, these people are awkward.
I'm sure that's exactly what they think. I, on the other hand, listen to every episode, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to text them about this.
She does. We have you and actually our pastor that like sends us notes as you listen to it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, and every time though our pastor is so nice and not at all condemning, but every time he texts us, I'm like, oh no.
What if we get in trouble?
Yeah. So yeah, today we're talking about rapture anxiety, and if you're not a church kid, and maybe you didn't grow up in the church, first of all, welcome. I don't know how much of this you'll be able to relate to, but it's referring to the term of like learning about the rapture and being so scared you're going to be left behind and having to survive basically in the tribulation, the apocalypse basically.
I think there are more than one versions of rapture anxiety, because I suffered from being left behind, but also like, what if I never get married and have a family and I don't get to live my life?
Oh my gosh, that's so real.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're praying like, Jesus, take me with you if you come, but also please let me be able to do all the things I want to do first. Don't come back too soon.
Yeah,
Right,
like,
yeah.
I love you, Lord, but let me experience love.
I just want to get married.
That's real.
Have a family.
I don't know if any boys ever thought that, but the girls definitely did.
Yeah.
I beat the rapture. Just want to, as if it's a disease or something.
The rapture.
I got married, so
I beat teen pregnancy.
I beat the rapture.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I beat teen pregnancy.
I did. Yeah, so I think I was actually talking to one of my friends about this, and she was saying how like girls probably like just thought about this and fretted about being left behind much more than boys did, you know?
No, our dad did.
Oh, that's true.
Dad had to go to counseling. Sorry to air out your dirty laundry, Dad, but Dad had to go to counseling.
When he was a child.
Okay, I also had a brother who very much had some rapture anxiety. I won't say who. I have several, so you won't know which one.
But one of them.
One of them.
Dude, yeah. I guess it was just like hearing about the rapture as a kid was like, if you don't know, I'll just explain it. Jesus left, like after he died on the cross, he came back to life, and then he ascended into heaven, and he tells like, I'm going to come back one day. And then in Revelation, which, let's be real, I've never read through Revelation before, but it does talk about like the end times and like basically the end of the world, and how the Antichrist is going to come, and there's going to be war, and then, like, people are going to, like, die a bunch.
Yeah, and then a promiscuous woman on a beast.
Bro.
It doesn't say promiscuous, but I
On a beast? I don't. Okay, I think I've missed a few
Right?
parts. I know I've read Revelation.
There's something
I
about...
just made that up.
No. There's something about a woman and a beast or a dragon or something.
I think you just got bored and you're like, what if?
Bro, let me bring up Revelation real quick.
But yeah, just the idea, like, that Jesus is going to come back, and it says, like, in the blink of an eye, or he'll be like a thief in the night, and then all the Christians will go up to heaven, and then everyone who's not a Christian will be here. And
not to mention the Christians who've already died, their bodies will go. That always weirded me out.
The dead in Christ, like, are they going to be, like, decayed and stuff?
Right? Like, I don't want to see that.
Like zombies?
I know, like my grandpa. I don't want to see that, you know? But the fear is that you won't be saved enough to make it to the rapture. Like, Jesus comes back and you weren't enough of a Christian.
You didn't make the cut.
Yeah, you didn't make the cut. You were like 80% there, but not 100. So you get left behind, and then you have to live in the chaos and the war that comes after. Did you find the promiscuous woman rides a beast?
I'm looking.
Okay. So no, she didn't find it.
I literally just opened my app.
Okay.
I need you to know that when you said that, I'm picturing like artwork for a Marlboro Lights package. That's what I'm picturing. Like a woman rides a beast.
We're like on the side of a van.
I'm like, maybe
They're like flying in the wind.
Maybe you saw that somewhere. It wasn't actually in Revelation.
You know that episode of Friends where they buy the van and the girl's bikini lights up?
What?
Okay, never mind.
Wait, what?
I don't remember that.
They buy the van for catering, and then it has a painting like that of a woman with like a sword and stuff, and then you turn on a light and her bikini lights up.
What show is this?
Oh my gosh.
Friends. Are you searching something different now?
I'm searching woman in Revelation.
Okay. The only part of Revelation I know is Book of Revelation, chapter 7, verses 16 and 17. Yes, sir. Did you ever hear that song as a kid?
Kirk Franklin?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I thought maybe it was just our neck of the woods.
Oh, no, for sure. For sure went through a Kirk Franklin phase.
I hate it when they're like, do you love the Bible app? And you say yes or no. But I'm just like, I say no so I don't have to leave a review.
Yeah, I always feel a little bad about that. Like, I do. I actually do. I'm lying to you, but I don't want to do what you want.
I love the Bible.
The great prostitute and the beast right there. Revelation 17.
Is she riding the beast, though? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I might have added that.
But what if she was riding it?
I will show you the judgment of great prostitute who's seated on many waters.
Dang.
The kings of earth have committed sexual immorality.
I mean, it says she was seated on waters, so.
Dude.
Aha! And I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns.
Oh, wow. Okay. I take it back.
Dang. But also the part where it says...
theologian, because I remembered the promiscuous woman.
The part where it says that the kings had done many sexual things. Aren't you so glad
immoralities.
Aren't you so glad that's not America?
Cheers. Starting stuff.
Somebody's stirring the pot.
Literally just talked about my pickles pickle.
This podcast is going to get real interesting come election time.
Oh, dear.
Okay, anyway, a rapture anxiety. So, Jess, tell us about the amount of rapture anxiety you experienced.
Oh, my gosh. So much. I'm pretty sure somewhere between the ages of 5 and 7 were when I first watched the movie The Thief in the Night. Or actually, I think it was a series.
5 and 7?
Now, I was not supposed to be watching it,
okay.
But my older siblings, which I'm one of 6, and I'm right in the middle. So I'm like 6.5 years younger than my next in line brother. And so they were downstairs at my grandma's house watching it in the basement. And of course, I'm like, I want to be cool. I want to know what you're doing. I don't want to be upstairs by myself with the babies. Well, actually, if I was that young, they wouldn't have been babies, but whatevs.
They were babies in your eyes.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, there would not have been any babies because Kayla is 8 years younger than me.
Oh, so you were the baby.
I was still
I don't
the
want to
baby.
be up here with the babies.
Oh,
me.
so you're second to youngest?
Third. Yep. So there's Kayla, and then there's one younger than her.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I went downstairs and watched it. I'm pretty sure I walked in on like a beheading scene. Straight up guillotine, chop, eyes just staring off, dead into space. You know.
Oh my
And
god.
7-year-old Jessica's just like, what is this? But then I'm like, I mean, I can't act like I'm too scared to watch this with you guys. I don't know how much I made it through, but it was rough. And then there was the Left Behind series that came out and became so popular. And I had this weird, like, I'm terrified of this, but also I need to read these books. I need to know.
Same. I read every single one, even the kids series. First of all, why was there a kids series?
Exactly. Now, I didn't actually ever read the adult series. I will say. I only read the kids series. But that was worse. Because you're literally reading about 12-year-olds being left behind and their whole families are gone. Basically, my worst fear. I'm like, my parents are going to go on the Rapture, and here's going to be me in the house alone.
Dude, normal people would like sneak watching horror movies when they were kids, and we were like reading Left Behind because that was our horror movie.
100%. Also, I think my mom didn't want me to read the books because she was probably already knew that I had a little bit of fear about that. But then when the kids series came out, she was like, well, it can't be that bad. It's for 8 to 12-year-olds, you know?
Dude, it was that bad.
So, yeah, I read it, and I for sure was terrified. And the kids lived in, like, this, I don't know, they banded together in, like, an underground kind of situation going on with the pastor who also didn't make it. There was a pastor, and I'm just like, so if the pastor didn't make it, like, there's no way I'm going to make it. I'm going to die. I should start preparing for the rapture because I'm going to have to live and be a part of an underground church somewhere.
One of those apocalypse hoarders.
I think
exactly.
I think I actually read the books to try to figure out how to survive because I was like 85% sure I wasn't making the cut.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. Like, I feel like I was probably over there, like, taking notes. Like, okay, so in the event of rapture, this is what I need to do.
So when the 4 horsemen come, where do I need to be? You know?
How can I kick the horseman off of the horse so I can ride the horse and just go to town? You know?
What part of Texas is exempt from the 3rd horseman? That was me. Google.
I'm not really a fighter, though, so I was more like, where are the good places to hide from the people trying to come and give you the mark of the beast?
How do I get groceries without the mark of the beast?
Right? How do I learn how to forage for food?
And you're like 12.
100%.
And it's so funny because it's like a real thing. Like Jesus will come back. So it's not like you can just sit and tell this 12-year-old like,
don't worry, it's not real.
It's make-believe. No, it's like legit gonna happen, and the Bible talks about it, and then the church is like, make sure you're good enough, or you're gonna go through the worst 7 years in history.
Oh my gosh, yes. And it didn't help that there were several circles, churches, you know, people, groups that we were a part of that were big on, like, end times, rapture, that kind of thing. So I heard it a lot growing up. You know, like, make sure you're ready. That was like, you know, every 3rd Sunday, the message was about make sure you're ready. And I'm like, but they never gave us practical tips for how to make sure, like, how to know if you're ready. Like, it's just
because they didn't know.
Make sure you're ready. And so, like, do I just need to accept Jesus, or do I just need to, like, do my confession every night to make sure I'm ready? Is there a certain qualification? Like, nowhere can I find the list.
I was thinking like every 5 minutes, like asking for forgiveness, like come into my heart, Lord.
Oh,
because I was like, you can't, like 5 minutes. Like I feel like it's a good window.
That's true. And I mean, every time, you know, you have a sin, even if it's just a little wayward thought, you got to be like, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that thought about my mom. I didn't mean it. If you're coming back right now, please don't leave me.
Yeah, I didn't mean to call her a duty head. Please forgive me. He was like, but you saw that, right?
Dude, I got to tell y'all this story about, again, my friend Valerie. She gave me permission to share this story, and she said to mention her name. So she's like, she's all about it. But everyone watched the Left Behind. At least like a lot of church kids watch Left Behind movies. I was in love with Kirk Hammond. You owned it?
All three. We owned it too.
There are, it's a trilogy.
Dude, horrible movies.
I loved them though.
There's like especially the first one. There's something about like when you see Kirk Cameron in front of the news camera and he's like, Israel is experiencing bombings and da 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 da. But she said that she was like 6 when she first watched it, and she saw that Nikolai Carpathia, who is the Antichrist,
Right? Oh my
and
gosh.
she had a crush on him. She thought he was hot, and she was like, she said that she went in her room and cried and repented. And she was like 6 years old, like, God, I'm so sorry. I fell in love with the Antichrist. Dude, but I told her, I was like, dude, every church girl has to have a bad boys phase, and you just had yours super early.
Went
Also,
all the way to the
worst
Antichrist.
boy. He wasn't a bad boy. He was the worst.
Dude, but she sent me a picture. She's like, he's hot, right? I was like, and he's got money. And in the movie, he's like a philanthropist, right? Like he feeds hungry children.
Oh man.
Didn't he also have an accent?
Yeah.
See, that's where you got it.
Although it wasn't that great of an accent. I feel like it was like
Doesn't the Bible say the Antichrist has to come from the east or something?
Like Appalachia and stuff. Or
no from Kentucky.
if you like get the Antichrist and all you hear is like
Well, y'all, I reckon we better start war or something.
here's my
I'm
phone number,
dead.
666. You dial me and I'll answer. I got the home line.
Dude,
Oh my gosh.
there's also just like the lore of the rapture. You know, like there's
Right.
like so many movies and books and stories and stuff that like I don't know what's actually biblical. You know, like the whole thing where like people are raptured and their clothes are laid out. I thought that was in the Bible.
Wait. This guy?
What guy?
You're looking
Nikolai
him up?
Carpathia?
Yes.
I can think of 100 men more attracted than him.
Okay, but he's not
6.
ugly. I do remember kind of using him though as this like, okay, like don't fall for pretty faces with dead eyes. Because he had pretty eyes. They were these like icy blue from my memory, but like
Look at that.
he just had zero expression in his eyes. He had dead eyes.
I remember that scene traumatized me where he's on the plane. That's where he gets
Oh my
possessed by
gosh.
Satan.
Yes, I remember that. Then his eyes were even more dead.
They were like undead.
Undead eyes.
But like I thought that the clothes laying out, I thought that was in the Bible.
See, I would prefer my clothes go with me because I don't want to be naked.
I mean, but what about the people that were already dead? I mean, unless they recently died, their clothes are long gone.
Oh yeah, they're like.
Oh shoot, I never thought about that.
See, now
I mean,
that's
but
the
then
part
their
we gotta
skin
think
may be
about.
long gone too.
Yeah, so like they got like exposed bones and stuff like that.
Dude. And then like what traumatized me was like that the kids would get taken away. Like in the Left Behind movie, there's this mom holding like the clothes of her kids.
Yes.
Why were we watching this as children? The more I think about it, I'm like,
So traumatizing.
why are they just making this movie?
I had forgotten that, but that was another particular fear. Because again, my younger brother and sister are 8 and 9 years younger than me. So I also had that fear. Not just I'll be left behind, but they won't. And like that scene, you're just like holding their hand, and all of a sudden you're like, "Where's my baby?"
Oh
That's
my
what I was picturing, even though they weren't my children. But I pretty much acted as though they were.
Right,
Who
yeah.
cares? But she was 3 years older than me.
You're like, I'm your mommy. You have to listen to me.
Yes, exactly.
But none of the loving, nurturing part.
She was like, "Do what I say, or I'll give you a spanking."
I might have been a little bit of both.
I raised you right, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Nope.
Caitlin, did you ever experience the rapture anxiety?
Yeah.
Did you ever like read the books or anything like
No,
that?
God, I was not into reading. I only remember a little bit of the first movie. I remember there was Kirk Cameron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some broad
For sure.
and some old guy, right?
Okay.
Yeah, he falls in love
A
and gets
movie.
married in the movies.
Let's see. No, I don't know it. I just remember as a kid, I was watching it and I was like, it's a no for me. So I went upstairs and like went into my room and played.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I had like a lot of fears of being left behind
Yeah.
because I said the title of the movie is what made a face.
You were just waiting for it, but
Yes, but nobody listening can. Anyways, I did have a fear of like my parents being taken up, but I
Yeah.
think my biggest fear is what if I don't get to live my life? You know,
Mm.
Because I was just, as a little kid, you're just like, but I want to fall in love and get married and have a baby. And, but yeah, I don't know.
I remember telling Dad I didn't want to go to heaven because it was just like not opposed to going to hell, but like I was like, why can't we just stay on Earth? Like, I just didn't like the idea of heaven because I was like, first of all, eternity. Okay, this is really funny. Eternity used to scare the crap out of me. Just thinking about eternity. And it would make me so nervous that I would get gas as a child just thinking about eternity. Like, nervous.
Oh, I thought you meant like fill up your car. I was like
I would get nervous gas as a child. I remember sitting in the backseat of the car one day thinking way too hard about it. And then I had a stomach ache and I felt like I was going to throw up. Dude, and now I know, like, okay, that was like an anxiety attack or something like that,
right?
But at the time, dude, eternity was so bad. And then in the books, like the very last book is when at the end of the tribulation they go to heaven. Everyone goes to heaven, and I didn't read it. I read every single book except for that one because I didn't want to see them go to heaven.
Oh, wow.
Heaven just terrified me so much.
And how does that make you feel?
Well, not good. I feel like I gotta go poop now.
That's a common thing, though. I've heard other people say that eternity freaks them out.
Okay, so when I was young, it wasn't necessarily the idea of eternity, but there's specifically somewhere in Scripture, I forget where, but it is actually in the Bible, where it talks about, like, I forget, but it's basically saying, like, there won't be marrying in heaven.
Oh, yeah. Jesus said it.
Yeah, and because it was like this, I think somebody was questioning him, like, well, like, if a woman marries someone and then he dies and then she marries someone else, like, in heaven, like, whose wife is she? Something like that. And Jesus is like, yeah, you're missing the point, bro. Like, there's not going to be that in heaven. But that terrified me because then it was like, so my mom won't be my mom and my dad won't be my dad? Like, if there's no marriages.
Dude, and then
do I even know them?
Yeah, and then they talked about like how we're just gonna be worshiping all the time. I was like, that sounds boring as heck.
It's just like one big church service.
We got TV down here. Like, let me chill.
We got 4-wheelers down here too.
Like I got a whole mansion and I can't even sit in it. You know, I got to go to worship.
I was always picturing myself like running around on clouds. Always. That was it.
I was like, Dr. Pepper fountains. I know they're in heaven. You know, just
Dr.
like
Pepper
cotton
fountains.
candy trees. You get to just eat the candy off of it.
So you never had that thought of like, I don't want to go to heaven because you were like,
No.
I'd love to go to heaven.
Yeah, and I was like, take me out of this miserable place. I'm just kidding.
There's no cotton candy trees here.
I would daydream about it. I was like, so there's Dr. Pepper fountains and specifically orange Fanta fountains because I was an orange Fanta kid.
Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah, and I was just like, there's singing and just you get to eat the streets of gold. I never heard that biblically, but in my head I was like, that sounds like heaven to me.
Why would you want to eat the gold?
Well, there's no germs in heaven, first of all, so you don't have to worry about that.
But it's not like tasty.
How do you know?
Not edible even.
How do you know?
Maybe it's chocolate covered.
Yeah, it's the chocolate glowing.
That's what I was thinking. Not chocolate covered, but yeah.
Glenn really just wanted to go to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
That's
I
real.
did watch Willy Wonka and the angels are the Oompa Loompas.
I will say the My Father's House song, I forget who did it. But is it
Audio Adrenaline.
Okay, yeah. That really helped me with my picture of heaven. Like, it's like, oh, okay, like there's a big yard and we're going to play football. And, you know, even though I can't play football, but maybe in heaven I will have supernatural ability to play sports now.
You just like catch the ball and do like a flip in the air and just land on one foot. You're like,
100%.
This is amazing.
Also, I'm going to grow like 6 inches in heaven.
Yeah.
If you don't know Jess, she's a little bit height challenged.
Indeed.
Yeah, dude, I did not want to go to heaven. I was like, dude, I'm fine here, honestly.
I was fine with going to heaven. I just didn't want to do it like at the moment. I was like, I want to live my life, Lord.
Yeah.
I was
I still feel
definitely
that way.
more afraid of being left behind than going to heaven. But there were definitely some question marks on the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard a few years ago about this service that they were going to, you pay them like an amount, what's that called? Upfront. You pay them an upfront amount, a big amount of money. They weren't Christians, but they're like, hey, you guys are Christians. When Jesus comes back, we'll take care of your pets.
What?
so that they don't die or like go hungry or starve
Dude,
during the tribulation.
I got respect for
The
those
fact
people.
that people turn that into a business when they don't believe it will ever happen.
Capitalism at its finest, honestly.
I have never heard of that,
But
but it does
also,
not surprise me.
Imagine them just like a rapture happens and they're like, man, now we gotta take care of these dang pets.
Although, if you don't actually follow through, who's going to sue you?
Good
That's
point.
a really good point.
Good.
They're all gone.
Hopefully they have a little bit of a heart and like, man, there's just little dogs sitting in those empty
And we
castles.
took all this money to take care of them.
You know that there's some people though that are just sitting in their house petting their cat and they're like, "Yep, my cat's gonna be taken care of when I'm gone."
I wrestled with the fact that maybe animals don't go. And I was like, they're just gonna come live out here with, what if my dog gets the mark of the beast, you know?
But how do you know if a dog is saved or not?
Great
I don't know.
question.
You know, like there's some dogs I don't want them to go to heaven. There's some cats I'm like, please no.
We had one
Most
dog where I
cats.
questioned where she went, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I
When
didn't
she
question it.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't question either.
Her name was Angel, but she was
was
one
a
of
fallen
Satan's
angel.
angels.
Satan's angel.
I almost said she was an archangel, and I was like, nope, that's not the same thing.
Wow, that's too much credit, Jess.
Archangels are good. I mean, unless, I don't know, was Satan, what kind of angel was
He
he?
was an archangel, right? Because there was Michael and Gabriel
Okay,
and
so-
Lucifer.
Archangels, some were good, some were not so good.
I think they're just like elite, you know? I don't know what I'm talking about.
But
And I never have.
I have a question about that because I thought that because I've always questioned like what's the difference between angels and us if we're both God's creation, right?
Because the Bible says that we're actually higher than the angels. That they're created beings, but we are like his children. We're his family.
So already I got a leg up on Satan.
For sure.
Boom.
Kiss my butt.
Boom. Yeah, dude, I remember just it terrified me. Just like I remember like you know like the hell and you were talking, Jess, about how like you heard a lot of hell and brimstone sermons.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, that was the worst time. I was like, I cannot wait for this to be over. Because I'm also just like, my personality was like, I'm a very people pleaser. And then I go into a service and they're like, yeah, you're not doing enough. You're going to go to hell, you know? And I was just like, it sent me over the top.
I went to Mom one time and I was like, Mom, I don't think I can keep up with this Christian stuff. And she's like, what? And I was like, I can't do enough to be saved. And then she thought we just like, that's like,
You know you're missing the whole point, honey.
but I was just like, I gotta do X, Y, and Z. And then I gotta like keep myself accountable all the time. I was also like 10 or 11 too. So it's just like, I love Jesus, but this is a lot.
Yeah.
Legit.
I think that's the difference of like, sorry, like that's what we should have been. That's what the church should have been telling people. Maybe we could have
Right.
made a movie about where Jesus comes back and like they go to heaven. It's just like cool for like an hour, you know? Like that would have made me more on board, you know?
I'm not sure if it would have made a great movie or box office sales, but
No, I've always thought about, I don't like it when there's like controversy in a movie, and I would love a movie where just nothing bad happens the whole time. Like people just live their lives and they're happy.
That's like the
I'm
most
about
boring
it.
movie in the world.
Yeah, I'm
Kara
about
just has
it.
it on repeat playing in her house.
It gives me peace.
Kara's
you
just
know?
like, I received this, Lord. Thank you.
Yeah. I would have loved that movie.
So on the fire and brimstone thing, one year for Easter, my church, I think I was probably early teens, and my church did like one of those, I guess it'd be like human video. Well, I don't know. I get them confused. What's what? But they did some sort of a skit, okay, where the rapture happened. And you sing all these different scenes and different people, and my brother was in it. And I swear, I just remember as an early like teen, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so moving. Because he is straight up crying on stage.
Aw.
Like, just whatever. I forget what his lines were, but, you know, basically, like, he is pulling the Left Behind scene where the pastor's like, God, you know, and, like, falls to his knees in the church. You know, my brother's having this scene, and I remember asking him about it. He was like, I'm pretty sure I just drew on all the emotions of me as a 12-year-old being afraid that I was going to get left behind.
It's the
Like,
same brother.
Yes, same brother. And so he's just like, I was like, how did you, I think those were real tears. He was like, oh, they for sure were.
Aww.
And I just remember being like, this is what it'll be like. This is it.
I think all of the kids with rapture anxiety, when we actually get to heaven, Jesus is going to give us an extra hug. Be like, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry they did that to you, honey.
That was not me, you know? I can't wait to just sit in front of God and like have like a book of everything I've ever believed. It's like, okay, now was this you or was that just bullcrap? You know? Right? And just go down the list, you know?
Also, I want a verbal apology from my father when I get to heaven because some of this is his fault. He wasn't as bad to me as some of the older siblings, but one time he actually pretended like the rapture took place.
No!
With one of my older siblings, possibly the one who had rapture anxiety. That may be why it started.
It adds
but my mom was like out for the night, and he straight up like turned off the power to the house and then hid.
Oh my god!
And actually, no, I take it back. I don't know if he actually was trying to pretend like the rapture happened, but either way, he was playing a really cruel prank on his children, and that said brother for sure thought that's what had happened, was the rapture took place.
Oh, what a dad move, honestly.
Yeah.
I saw this video. I was looking up rapture stuff on Instagram. First of all, did you guys know that there's actually people who believe now that the rapture will not happen?
I don't know why, but I thought for sure you were going to say that it already happened.
What if we are left behind?
Okay, sorry, back to your original question. I did know that.
Yeah, I knew that before the other day, but that's like I'm like, huh? Again, it's like they bring up scriptures and I'm like, I just believe what people told me.
Right?
Know?
Like never even questioned it.
Yeah. But I was looking it up and this guy did a prank on his wife where he laid out his and all his kids' clothes.
No!
Yeah.
See, that was wrong.
I would bawl my
Dude,
eyes out.
she was crying. She was like, I repented this morning, God, and all this stuff. And I was like, dude.
Oh, that poor woman.
And he posted it online.
I would beat he would be, no.
You're in the doghouse for the next year and a half, sir.
Dude, that's terrible. She was bawling. Immediately she knew. Like she walked in the room and she just started crying. Dude, she had rapture anxiety as a kid.
That's real. So I had an aunt who, she was very like conspiracy theories, but also I think she may have had rapture anxiety because one time she was trying to reach my dad and she couldn't reach him, and then she tried to reach multiple family members like his children and his wife, and we didn't answer our phones. And so then my mom has a voicemail that says, please call me back, I'm pretty sure the rapture's happened. And she's just like, I just need to know. And I guess like because my dad, I mean, at the time he wasn't a pastor, but he had been a pastor, worship leader, all the stuff, you know, pretty much anything you can be in the church, he did at some point in time. So she's like, if the rapture's happened, he's definitely gone. And he's not answering his phone. And neither is anyone else in his whole family. So that's exactly where mine went. I'm like, why was that your first thought? Like, maybe we're just busy.
But honestly, what if you called every person in your family, like, be honest, and they didn't answer? Would the rapture not be one of your first thoughts? Like, even if you'd have missed it immediately, you know?
I would be like, they're all conspiring against me. They're all
Which
playing
we
some
are,
sort of cruel
so,
joke. Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know what I would think now. I mean, definitely as a kid, for sure. 100%. Yeah. I also immediately thought the rapture was happening anytime it was bad weather and I was alone. I don't know why specifically alone. Like, straight up remember being 15 and there was like tornado watches and I was home alone and I'm just sitting there with my weather radio and listening to worship music so that, you know, if the rapture happens, I will be caught in a good place. And I'm just like, Lord, I love you and I'm so sorry. And just like, please let me, you know, go with you. I want to go with you if you're coming. Or also if you're not coming but a tornado comes, still can I just go to heaven? Like, you know,
don't let me feel pain.
Covering all the bases. And then my brother came home and I was like, oh cool, we're fine. You want to watch a movie?
I remember one time Karis and I had to stay at our grandparents' house alone. Grandma and grandpa were gone. Mom and dad had to go to a meeting and we lived across the street, or grandma and grandpa lived across the street from somebody in our church, but we were there alone. But we were both freaked out, especially me. Like, being alone was not my strong suit, and so
Clearly not mine.
We called mom and dad a lot, and so mom was praying. She was like, "I pray that Lord puts angels around the house and that He lets you see them." And I started bawling. I was like, "I don't want to see them, Mom. I don't want to see them." So my mom and dad called the lady across the street. We known her our whole life, and they're like, "Hey, can the girls come over?" I had a meltdown as soon as she said, "Let them see the angels." I was like, I'd rather see the demons.
I don't want to see nothing.
Take me.
Can we just watch Garfield?
There are meth heads on that road.
Meth heads.
Just let them take me. I don't want to see angels.
That's so bad. That's so terrible.
I've never wanted to see an angel in my life.
Again, Jesus is just gonna give you an extra hug for that one.
Oh god.
How many times as a kid did y'all hear a noise and like initially thought it was a trumpet?
Oh yeah, dude. Do you remember that one? I've probably told that story on the podcast, but we had like these little marshmallow guns where you stick the little mini marshmallow in the end of it and then you blow and it shoots the marshmallow out. But it was made out of PVC pipe. And if you would blow on it without the marshmallow in it, it would make a trumpet noise. But it wasn't really a good noise. It was like, you know? And so we were at the church with my dad, and he was like in his office. And so I hid in the hallway behind his office and it started blowing on it. I was dying laughing. I was like, this man's going to think the rapture's happening. But it was just me blowing it. So all it is like... and I was like, what's that noise? It's like the rapture. And I was oh my gosh. And my dad was like, Caitlin, stop that. But I was dying laughing because like, he thinks the rapture's happening.
He's just like, would she stop already?
No, and I was like, are those angels I see in the sky?
I hope not.
And he's like, Caitlin, stop.
Okay, wait, how old were you?
I was probably 10.
I remember one time we went to a prayer meeting, and did you grow up with a shofar in your church?
Oh, yes.
If you don't know, if you're listening, you don't know. Sometimes I don't know how to explain this where it doesn't sound crazy, but sometimes when the Lord is working in a Pentecostal church, they will bring out a ram's horn and blow it, and it sounds like a phone's ringing, but that's me making the shofar noise.
Dude,
and
it does sound like a phone vibrating.
And one time we were at a prayer night, and for some reason I was like maybe like 12 or 13, and I was like praying in the altar, and for some reason someone put a praise flag over me completely. I guess I don't know. I just let it, like, but over my head and everything. Like, I was completely covered
with like praise,
so
like maybe some sort of.
I was just in it. I might have been sleeping, honestly, but I was just like in it. I couldn't see anything. They were doing worship music and stuff, and then I couldn't see them, but someone brought a shofar out and blew it. And dude, I lost my crap. I like jumped up and threw the flag down because I thought the rapture was happening. And everyone was like, the worship music stopped, and they all were just like looking at me like, you good? And I was like, no, I'm not good. You gotta warn someone before you bring that shofar out, you know?
That's real.
That'll
shock
you.
Shofar and worship once on a Sunday morning. The shofar was so out of tune, and it was like, I don't know. I was like,
wait,
maybe
you tuned shofars?
No, I don't know, but it was like the key of the shofar. It probably was like in D, and the worship music was playing the key of like, I don't know, E flat or something. I don't know, but I was like, can we stop that? Because it's disturbing.
Shofars were always interesting too, because you could tell like who knew how to use it and who didn't.
Yeah, because then it's gonna sound like my like marshmallow blower, like.
Yes, actually, I tried to blow one of those before, and yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. I was like, this is nothing like what it sounds like when Sister so and so does it.
Dude, another one of those prayer meetings. We had a friend, and she wanted to be a little bit of a turd, and she turned the lights out. And then when she turned the lights out, we were like, oh, turn him back on. And then one of the lady was just like, no, keep him off. And like we looked up in the ceiling, and like going around the ceiling were like blue streaks. There's like tear, 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 tear. And everybody was like, they're angels. And they were like praising God and stuff like that. I was like, you turn those lights on right now. Right now. Turn them on right now. I swear. And after that, I would not go in that sanctuary alone. I was like, I'm going to turn these lights out and those blue streaks can be up there. And then I'm going to have a heart attack and die.
You're like, this is the precursor. I know it. It's happening. It's happening.
I was like, I'm going to see an angel. Mom paid this over me.
It's all Mom's fault.
I remember, like, I was fine with seeing supernatural stuff if I was with people, but
Yes.
like if I was like alone in my room, I was like, dear God,
Totally
please do not
different.
reveal. I don't want to be revealed right now. Just leave me alone, God.
I straight up used to pray that I didn't have any dreams because I think when I was little, I tended to have supernatural dreams, and so it's just like I don't want any. So you go to bed, and your prayer is, Jesus, I'm going to sleep. Forgive me of all of my sins. If I die before I wake up, please take me to heaven. If the rapture happens before I wake up, please take me to heaven. If somebody breaks into our home and tries to kidnap me, please let them not be able to see me. Like, and you've got the list, and don't let me have any bad dreams, or just no dreams at all. Let me just sleep with no dreams. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, Jess.
I've got the list.
Yeah.
And
No.
then you put on your Christian music while you're sleeping, so that the Lord knows I'm really trying here. I'm really trying to do right.
Or that the demons know she's listening to worship music. Ought not mess with her.
We can't touch her. She is playing Stephen Curtis Chapman.
And she has her blanket over
Jeremy
her
Camp is
head.
playing, no touch.
I remember I had a CD player and I had a Mercy Me CD. And I'd play that. And you're beautiful. You're beautiful.
If I really wanted to be protected, it was a Lindell Cooley. I was like, if nobody's going to protect me, Lindell is.
You hear that? He's riding a white horse, demons.
That's the exact song. Okay, no, that's the exact song I just thought. And he's riding on a white horse. You know,
He's got
all across this room.
that's the song, just on repeat.
We had our house, like, I saw some stuff, okay, in our house. I'm not going to act like I didn't. I don't know how much of it was hysteria and how much of it was real. But, like, one time we had when we first got our house, we had a prayer meeting at our house. And I opened up to the people there and told them that I saw stuff. And so one of the elders in our church was at our house, and she did a prayer. She was like, I pray that you would send encampments of angels around this house, that they would pluck out the eyes. It was like an intense prayer, okay?
I remember that. I was like, yeah, pluck him out, baby.
And one of the guys in our church was a bit of a prankster, and he was gonna come back the next morning and like set up little campfires all around.
Oh my gosh!
But he didn't do it. Thank God. I would have been. I would have never prayed again.
I would have been terrified. I was like, dear God, I can see the evidence.
I would have never prayed again.
Dude, the supernatural, that stuff takes me out. I'm like, If I feel like I'm gonna see a demon at night, I will bury my head in the pillow and I will ignore it. And I was like, no,
No, thank you.
no thanks.
I want to be like, I forget his name, but there was a story of some famous Christian leader that said a demon came to him in the night, and he just literally like looked up and was like, "Oh, it's you. You're in the wrong
It was
room.
Smith
Go to
Wigglesworth, and I think he said it was Satan himself or something.
Well, okay, no, I think I've heard a lot of stories like that.
Yeah.
I do think one was Smith Wigglesworth, but there was one. It's more modern times.
Oh, okay.
Like I think he just died in the last like 10 years.
Oh, okay.
But he actually told the guy who was like, go bother somebody else. Go in the next room. And he was in a hotel with a bunch of other ministers. And the next morning, the guy that was in the next room over comes out, and he's got like bloodshot eyes and looks like he hadn't slept all night.
Oh my gosh, dude.
No, I'm not trying to do that and like push somebody out or a demon off on somebody else. But I'm like, just the fact that he was just like, go away.
Go bother somebody else.
Yeah,
Couldn't be me.
Go bother someone else.
I'd be like, please go to someone else.
Right? I know. I'm like, but I want that kind of confidence.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have it.
I would probably do that and not confidence, but just like shaking in my boots, like, go bother somebody else.
Please don't eat me.
Please don't touch my feet. I was really scared that they were going to come touch my feet.
Of all things. Of all things, your feet.
Yeah, I would like ball them up underneath me, and I'm like, don't touch my feet.
I feel that. Even sometimes now, like if I'm sitting on the bed and my feet are on the floor, I'm like, I'm so vulnerable right now.
You know?
anything could just grab my ankles.
Dude, yeah, for real. Did you guys ever watch that movie Little Monsters
No.
from the 80s?
I don't know if I did.
I don't watch horror movies.
Dude,
I'm holier than you are. I don't watch horror
terrified
movies.
I'm scared. I'm more scared.
It wasn't a horror movie. It was a kid. It was Fred Savage, and this monster came under his bed, but the monster was like a cool dude, and he took him under the bed. There's under every kid's bed is like this magical land.
He took him under. Nope.
Dude,
no.
I was
Hard no.
terrified. I was actually terrified.
E.T. terrified me. So
Oh, same. 100%.
especially when he was like when they dressed him up, I was like, he's going on the streets.
I'm still a little afraid of E.T.
Dude,
I don't
honestly,
do that stuff.
creepy. It looks. Never
E.T. or Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I don't like him.
That's
Not
what he
a
does,
fan.
right?
Yeah, he's like,
It's cute.
That makes me feel gaggy.
yeah.
I did think it was funny though how he would talk to himself.
Yes.
Like I was watching that movie as like a teenager, trying to convince myself I wasn't scared. I was like, I gotta find some humor in this.
Dude, me and my old roommate Tina, shout out, we would watch Lord of the Rings all the time. And
All the time?
well, we watched it like twice a year.
That's like
Wow.
a 4-hour commitment.
That's intense.
Yeah,
We're intense homebodies, so
Well,
that
that's
makes
true.
sense. You just wouldn't move for 12 hours.
yeah, we would make plans on like Saturdays and Sundays. Like, all right, this is our time.
This is our Lord of the Rings weekend.
Yeah, we would go get ramen and pot stickers and eat that.
Don't call me. I'm watching Lord of the Rings.
That's exactly how I felt. I did ignore some phone calls.
Anyways, back to the Rapture. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I never realized how sassy Gollum was.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, I did not do it. They're nasty
You know-
puppetses.
Actually, I watched it as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
and I had only seen bits and pieces when I was younger, and he terrified me. As an adult, I was like, he is pretty ugly. It's pretty gross, but he's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sarcasm, but then also I kind of felt bad for him. There was a part of me that felt bad. I mean, and then he'd have his moments where I'm like, oh, there's a demon. There's a demon coming out right now.
Yeah.
But then, so I had mixed feelings about him as an adult. But as a kid, I was just like, that is straight up what the demons look like. I know it.
I related with him a lot because he said not its business. And we're like, not its business, nasty hobbit. And I was like, God, that's very much like me.
I'm like, I'm going to start saying that.
I know, and Tina was like, you're so much like Gollum. And I was like, from what? It was like, coming out of left field. I was like, did I hurt you in some way?
That's like when like siblings watch movies and they're like, "That's you, the ugliest thing on the TV."
Yeah, I mean,
that's you.
We did point at the orcs and the orc guy. We're like, hey, that's you.
Oh my gosh.
But getting back to the Rapture thing, one of my favorite things now, but also one of the most terrifying things as a kid, was seeing people try to guess when the Rapture was going to happen.
Oh, like the
Oh my
2012
gosh.
end of the world thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say Y2K. Maybe it's because I was younger, so it was scarier then. That was awful.
I was one, so
Wow. Every time. I'm like, why? I don't feel like I'm that much older than you guys, but I
don't feel
am.
like you are either.
Well, it turns
and then
out
you
I
say
am.
stuff like Y2K scared me. I'm like, what?
I don't even know what Y2K is.
You didn't like poop in a diaper or something? Just get over it.
Y2K was the year 2000.
Oh, okay.
And there was this whole thing that at the turn of like New Year's Eve at midnight, the world was going to end.
The computers weren't programmed to go into the next millennium, so the whole world was gonna like.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Makes
so,
sense.
I mean, literally, everyone I knew was preparing for the world to shut down. Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily the world was going to end. Like, it wasn't actually about the rapture, but there were definitely Christian people that just tied that in. But yeah, it was like people were saying like our power grids may go off. Like all kinds of crazy stuff. So I remember like my family didn't do a lot. Like they weren't crazy prepping, but I do think we bought like some extra like cases of water and like just random things
Wow.
like that, like canned foods, like just in case anything crazy does happen, we are set with some food. Which my dad was, he was not, again, he wasn't like this one of those super like, what do they call them, like the
Preppers?
yeah, like he wasn't a super prepper, but he would kind of fluctuate. He'd be like, let's use all of our stuff, like whatever, it doesn't matter. And then 2 months later he's like, "Gay, start buying stuff." That was my mom's name, by the way. I feel like that's important. Because otherwise you're like, why did she just bring that in? Hey, go
Start buying stuff.
But no, so he's like, start buying stuff, like, just in case.
It's like, what's gay? Not buying stuff. Sorry.
Well, that's true. She would be like, no. Why? We don't have the extra funds to buy six cases of beans. But all that to say, we did do a bit of prepping before Y2K, and I just remember like watching the countdown, and for the first time not being excited about the countdown, and I'm just like, Mom, hold my hand.
Oh
man.
I'm
just like, is this what's happening? Yeah, what's gonna happen? And so it's like the 10, 9, and I'm waiting, and then nothing happened, and I was just like, well, that was a letdown.
It was anticlimactic. I remember leading up to 2012, because 2012
wasn't it like May 19th or something like that?
I have no idea.
I forget, but something like that. I think it was in May. Because what when it
May 23rd or something.
The Mayan calendar.
Ended in that day. Which is funny.
Of course, they knew when the end of times were coming.
Which is funny because no man knows the day or the hour.
Except for the
Mayans. Yeah, and they told everyone else.
Jesus doesn't know, but the Mayans know.
That's what is so funny to me is like Jesus doesn't even know, but God told this internet preacher.
Right? And for some reason, he's only going to release it after you send in your pledge.
Or buy his book or like CD.
Jesus is up in heaven with his credit card number, entering it.
Oh my gosh, I need to know. I've got plans, and Father won't tell me when it's going to be time.
I'm waiting. I'm just sitting at the edge of heaven waiting for this guy to tell me when I'm supposed to come back. I saw that everyone thought that he was going to come back on September 23rd of last year. Not everyone, a select few actually. But he didn't.
I do feel like I heard something like that.
Or maybe we all did get left behind, and the few people who believe that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right?
What's the one scripture about the 100,000 people? They're going to be the ones that
the 144,000 Jews?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The remnant.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not Jewish. I'm such a Gentile. I'm not in that.
I am so Gentile.
Not it. Nose goes.
Dude, when someone asks me my sign, I'm going to say, I am Gentile.
Gentile.
I am Gentile.
Saved by grace, thank you, Jesus.
You mean Gemini? No.
No Gentile.
Gentile. That's funny.
Are you a Jew?
Oh, man.
What was I going to say? Oh, but I always thought it was interesting that everyone talks about the parable of the 10 virgins and stuff. About how, they're not ready.
The oil lamp?
Yeah. And they're like, if you run out of oil, you're not going to be ready. And then Jesus is going to come back and he's going to be like,
right?
Peace. Jessica's biggest fear.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
But I always thought it was funny how, in that story, the guy tells him, just wait here. But we act like it's go out and find Jesus and calculate when he will be back. Right. Don't just sit and wait like he told us. We need to do a whole big thing. I
have to know.
We have to figure out when he's going to be back, when the stars are going to align, da 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 da.
I mean, if we don't, what are we even doing?
Right. But it's why don't we just live like Jesus is always with us, and then when he does come back,
we're ready.
We're set. We're good.
It's not like Jesus wanted us to actually go and make disciples with our time.
Right, yeah.
He didn't say that or anything. He said, I want you to be ready, which means I need you to study these old books and try to figure out when I'm coming back so you'll be ready.
So you can repent by then.
Yeah, so you can repent and be ready. Don't be spending your time actually trying to, do what I did on the earth.
I want you to start canning food.
What I want you to do is start prepping and make sure you have enough just for your family. Not to share, not to try to help the people, but have enough for your family.
The very first week that I moved to Tennessee in Cleveland, I bet a lot of church kids, can I say his name? The Perry Stone?
Well, too late.
Can I say Perry Stone's name?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I can cut it out. Okay. Maybe church kids know Perry Stone, because we knew Perry Stone before I moved here. Mm-hmm. And his church is here in Cleveland. Well, it was here in Cleveland, Tennessee. It's not his church anymore.
It's not? Did that happen officially?
I don't know if that happened.
Yeah, well, when we get off the record.
Sorry, side note. Side conversation for later.
So the very first week ever, I was like, I know who Perry Stone is. I'm going to go to his church. So I went to his church, and the very first week I'm there, he's like, turn off the live recordings. Turn off the live recordings. We're not recording this one. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. And then, I'm not kidding, for an hour, this man goes on about how the Lord revealed to him that a crisis, like an EMP, was going to go off or something. And we were all
EMT.
Or EMT, BET, MTV.
MTV was going to take over the off. No, an EMP is an electromagnetic pulse, which the other countries, this is legit. They have these bombs where if they set one off in America, everything electrical would be dead.
I have heard of
and a third of our population would be dead. Like, that's the actual calculation.
Except for the preppers. You know what? We should stop judging them. They would be alive.
No,
because they have a bomb shelter in their backyard.
They don't need electricity. And then he went on and on about how the Lord revealed to him that everyone in that sanctuary needed to have 3 months of supplies to survive. He was like, seriously, go home and find out if you have 3 months supplies to survive. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. That's my first week I was 19.
Like, I don't even have enough money for Taco Bell tomorrow.
I know. I was going to go to Chick-fil-A to change my car after this, but I guess I need to buy some beans and a case of water. But I remember, like, I was terrified. And there was this guy that I was talking to at the time, and he was Baptist. Poor guy. And I came home and I told him about all this, and he was like,
you terrified him.
I was like, yeah, and he said da 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 da, and he was like, wow, okay. And he probably had it better than me. He's probably like, why don't we just like focus on going to church and loving Jesus? And I'm like, no.
I don't think this is gonna work.
No, it didn't actually. So
straight up that night was when he's like, maybe we should just be friends.
Maybe not even friends.
I remember one time Perry Stone went to like a town near us, and we went to him in Texas, and he talked about the Bermuda Triangle was the gate to hell, and I was terrified. I was like, so did the waters boil?
Did anyone
the waters boil?
Did anyone get saved that night?
I don't know.
You never know.
There's an altar call. It's like, if you don't want to go to Bermuda, come up here.
And so he's like, but I do want to go to Bermuda.
I do want to go to the Caribbean, please.
But not hell.
No, that's
just the Caribbean.
That's why it's so hot.
Just the above ground part.
Yeah.
That's just like what I wonder about the Left Behind movies is like, who watched that movie and they were like, yes, I want a deeper and more intimate relationship with Jesus Christ. No, you watch that movie like, dear God, please don't let me be left behind.
And while we're talking about Left Behind, while we brought it back around, can we also just talk about the remake with Nicolas Cage and Chad Michael Murray?
I never actually watched it. Because I've heard it was so terrible.
Oh, it's fine. I didn't watch it either, for sure. No. Yo, it had Chad Michael Murray. I mean,
I hope he got
I've loved him since Freaky Friday.
We should watch it.
Love him.
We should watch it after this, actually.
Well, they were not wrong. It was bad. This is bad. Now, okay, realistically, I'm sure if I really watched it objectively as an adult, I would probably say they were both equally awful. But watching the new one as an adult and remembering the Kirk Cameron one from childhood, I was like, this is so much more cheesy than the Kirk Cameron version. And I'm
then
like,
you watch the
said no one ever.
And then you watch the Kirk Cameron version, you're like, oh no.
I haven't gone back. I should. I need to do it now. Go back and rewatch and see which one's worse.
I haven't either. I know that the first one was really cheesy, but it has that nostalgia factor, you know?
It does, but right?
Also,
for us that watched it when we were 12 or 1 in your case.
Categorized it as Christian thriller.
And this is why people make fun of us.
Can we categorize our podcast as that?
Christian thriller.
You know, they have like the categories like comedy, Christian thriller.
At the women's retreat, we're gonna ask him like, can you take out comedy and put Christian thriller in?
Oh yeah, did you know that they on the I'll cut this out. On the itinerary they put us as comedy.
Oh, I did see that. They were just like, they're funny.
I know.
It's comedy hour.
Oh, well, okay.
We might be funny. What if we decide to do like a really serious topic that night?
Yeah, we were like, no. Because we were talking about like women in the church and everything. Is like, we should just keep it light because we could go really dark on this one.
Right before the last session of the night, and just go wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
So who's pumped to worship Jesus, right?
There's women just weeping in the corner.
No, when I talk about this,
never felt fully loved in the church.
no, when I talk about this stuff, I want to burn something down. Caitlin is like, and now we have the fire. Oh yeah, last week. You didn't hear the episode, but last week we just talked a bunch about burning stuff.
Oh my god! It was
mostly me just bringing it back up.
It's because in our church, when we were kids, they paid off their debt, so they burned their note during service, like with actual fire.
They got like two of the ladies, their husbands had passed away, but they were the elders of the church at the time that they started the note, and so they brought them up and they like got them to like set the note on fire as like a symbol of like, you know, your husband started this and now we're finishing it and stuff. But I was just pumped because there was a fire in the sanctuary. I was like, yeah.
We burned stuff at my youth group once, and I was like in middle school, and I was also very pumped. But then it turned weird really quickly, and somebody burned a Dixie Chick CD and then said that their eyes were glowing green, and it was a clear sign that they were of the devil. And multiple other weird things like that happened, which now I'm like, actually, it was probably just like what was on the paper, the printing materials.
CDs are not meant to burn.
Yeah, the chemicals interacting with the fire. But as an 11-year-old or 12-year-old, I was like, oh my gosh, I've listened to the Dixie Chicks before. I'm going to hell, which just goes back to, again, like anxiety about hell. And
I will not be in the rapture. I will be left behind.
Now I know I'm going to be left behind. I did burn my Sarah Evans CD that night, though, so, you know.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, guys, I'm so old. Do you know who the Dixie Chicks are?
Yeah.
Because they're from the same era. Same era of country music.
Is Sarah Evans country?
Yes.
Oh, Sarah Evans!
Okay.
Yes! Okay, now I know. I know.
Yeah. Not Daryl Evans. Don't get them confused.
When Jesus comes back, he's going to, like, grab Jess. And she's going to be like, are you sure? I listened to the Dixie Chicks.
Are you sure? I rebought that Sarah Evans album after I burned it.
I really missed it.
Jesus will be like, well, they're actually now the chicks now, so it's okay. Now you can come to heaven.
It's fine. They repented.
For you. They repented on your behalf. Dude.
Oh, my favorite thing when people is making plans and they say, well, if the Lord tarries. If the Lord tarries, we'll do this.
Quince had never heard of that.
You want to go to lunch tomorrow? If the Lord tarries.
Quince had never heard of that until like a year or two ago, and I told him, because someone made a Facebook post about if the Lord tarries, and I explained it to him, and he was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so now he says it. I'd be like, well, not obviously, not seriously. I'd be like, hey, do you want to go to this place next week? He'd be like, if the Lord tarries.
I would have started a support group for other people. I talked to Jess about this. We're like single people worried that they wouldn't
they won't get married before the rapture.
I want to call it like, if the Lord tarries, we shall marry.
Please do, and send me an invite to the group.
That should be honestly like a Christian dating app. Just people who are scared.
I'm patent this. Cut this out of the podcast.
Okay.
We don't want someone else to jump on it before you get a chance to.
All 30 listeners. Somebody might steal it.
This is legit. Now, my grandparents have changed a lot, but they raised my parents in such a way on both sides that they didn't let them go to the movies. Because they said if Jesus comes back, would he go into the movies to get you?
Wait, for reals? Yeah. Would he go into the movie? I mean...
They could be watching freaking Bambi.
I can't. When he go into the movie,
that was the first movie my dad watched in the movie theater. I think was Bambi,
and then
it was.
I'm so sorry for him.
And they were like, "Cause it's dark in there, and there's lustful movies that are shown in the movies and stuff.
You know what happens in the dark?
No, they take us to the movies.
Yeah, they took us when we were
kids, and my parents were like, "What the heck?" You know,
I couldn't go to the movies.
Yeah, and so they were like, "Well, I think he would make an exception for us."
So I don't know how my grandparents on my dad's side would have been about that stuff. Honestly, I think they just didn't really even have enough money to worry about those kinds of things. But my grandparents on my mom's side, there were a lot of people like in their church or in their congregation that were that way. Like, we don't go to the movies, we don't go bowling, whatever. But my grandparents weren't that way at all. Mom said that my papa was a minister, and so if he was out of town on a trip, her and my grandma would stay home and watch Disney. Like, it was like the Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights. Like, they wouldn't go to church and they would stay home and watch movies, which is not quite the same as movie theater, but
I think it's the pastor's Wi-Fi would be.
That would be her. Now, he was an evangelist, so she didn't have quite the same role, but they couldn't always go with him because she had short hair and wore makeup.
Oh, man. Are you sure that she would be caught up in the rapture?
I mean, probably not.
Dude,
it's
honestly,
a good thing she's already gone on.
So if the rapture would have happened when you were a kid, you could have just gone over to grandma's house. You're like, well, if anybody's going to be left behind, she cut her hair and wears makeup.
Mammy will be there watching Sound of Music, and I can go and stay with her.
She did watch Disney, so.
Too.
What was I going to say? Oh, this might be a very dark thought, but the people who are like, would Jesus go into the movies to get you? I can't imagine how terrifying, like, being intimate with their spouses were.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Because, like, the whole time they're like, please don't come back, Jesus. Please don't come back, Jesus.
I always had a fear of Jesus coming back while I was doing something wrong. Now, not specifically that, because, again, I wasn't married. And so 12-year-old Jessica wasn't worried about that. But 12-year-old Jessica was worried about Jesus coming back at the exact moment that I was like, sneaking candy that I wasn't supposed to be eating, or telling a lie, or like yelling at my mom, It was always just like, what if it's at the exact wrong moment?
Caught in 4K.
What if, like, right in the middle of the eye roll, he comes back and you're like, oh my gosh.
And yes, I did say step by step. We weren't allowed to watch that.
What is that?
Gosh, every time. It was
a TV show?
Okay, yeah, it was a TV show when I was growing up, and it was a blended family. And my dad wouldn't let us watch it because of I do think the kids were also disrespectful. Those were the two things. It was like,
okay, we weren't able to watch Rugrats for a minute because Angelica was disrespectful.
There were so many things that I'm just like, why? I don't understand. Now, my dad did take that back by the time Kayla and CJ were old enough to watch it, because Kayla for sure watched it, and I was just like, I was allowed to watch that?
Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch Wizards of Waverly Place for obvious reasons. But
well, they're wizards.
Were literally wizards.
And SpongeBob was too violent.
So. Too violent.
But we were allowed to watch Scooby-Doo.
But those were like real people. They weren't monsters.
But it was so scary.
But what if Jesus came back? I remember
while you were watching it.
I still watch SpongeBob. So
Caitlin watches Harry Potter,
and I love it.
Still,
dude.
Or
I
back
did.
then?
No,
she didn't watch.
I didn't watch it
now or back then.
I started watching when I was in my 20s, which is honestly like in the past few years. But I started watching it, and I was like,
last year I started watching it.
But I love them, and I love the Harry Potter series. And I'm not ashamed.
I think my family was genuinely concerned for her, like legit.
My mom said it was just like, you have to live your life with your convictions, and I was like, I don't have any convictions.
None, just zero. I have zero convictions, not anything,
dude.
Yeah. I play a Harry Potter game on my Switch.
Caitlin.
Oh, and you know what? If the Lord comes
Caitlin.
back, I think he'll take me.
You're definitely not making the cut. Sorry about it.
If he comes back and I'm playing the game, I'm like, Lord, will I still go? He's like, no.
Would the Lord take you if you had a Nintendo Switch remote in your hands?
What game am I playing, though?
Great question.
Is there a holy game? No, not one.
There might be. You don't know.
I don't know. Well, I think that just to conclude, I think we can all say that Jesus is much better than church people. I seriously think he's just going to give out like extra hugs to people.
Do you ever wonder if he gets a kick out of things that we say and think? Like, you know, things like all the crazy theories. When Y2K and 2012 are happening and we're all panicking. And do you ever wonder if he's just out there like, guys, and just like a little chuckle, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Get it together.
You think he's just like, that's not at all what I said or meant.
Yeah.
I, in fact, didn't say that at all.
Never did I ever say that.
I wonder what he does think whenever we're, like, worked up about stuff like that. Like, and actually going to him, like, God, I'm really, like, concerned about this. This is causing me distress. And he's like, well, that's not going to happen. Like, I wonder what his thought process is.
Right.
I imagine it's a lot like when my 3-year-old comes up to me crying because something ridiculous happened that is absolutely just, you know, the way life is. Like, he's upset that all the goldfish are gone and he ate all of the goldfish, you know? Or he's upset that, like, he went and hit his brother and his brother hit him back. Right? And he's like, he hit me. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. That's God, you know. But he's still like, you know, like you're like, oh,
he
I'm
still
sorry.
holds us, you know, and like cuddles us and comforts us.
Yeah.
That is the thing. Even in our ridiculousness, I think he still has grace for us. And he's just like, you know what? You're hurting. You're hurting right now. You're scared. You're whatever, you know. And I think even the people that come up with these crazy theories, and some maybe they're not that crazy. I don't know. But whatever. Regardless, I think, you know, he looks beyond to the heart of like why they even went there, whether it's just because they're so like wanting to follow God and like know what's coming and you know, or if it is a fear thing, you know. He knows, and I think he has grace for us in the process. I do feel like, though, I'm like, I just, looking back, I'm like, I just wish we could have been a little more focused on like just the relational aspect of like this is like, I don't feel like I ever got a lot in, at least in some of the churches we were in growing up, of like, this is what it means just to like love God and be in relationship with him and know his heart. You know, it was the here's what you got to do, or it was the like don't get left, you know, kind of stuff. So it's like I always felt like I was looking for this like checklist of all the things, which we kind of, I think you alluded to that, Caitlin, like the checklist of what I've got to do right to be like, I'm a good Christian and therefore gonna go to heaven when I die, and or if the rapture comes back, be taken.
Right, yeah, like where is the line? Where is the line drawn? I think I'm just at the point where like if I hear something like, you know, this is happening in the stars, and then they're like, oh, like the temple is being blah 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 blah, which all of that's in the Bible. That's legit. I don't care. You know, I'm just like, if Jesus comes back whenever he comes back, I'm good because I actually know him. Like the verse that it used to terrify me, the verse is like, depart from me, I never knew you. Because I'm like, oh no, what if I don't know Jesus enough?
Or like the lukewarm where he'll spit it out, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh man, that verse used to haunt me.
It still haunts me.
Dude, yeah.
But I think I am lukewarm.
Let me taste myself. 98 degrees.
It's room temperature, Lord. I'm sorry.
I feel like this whole podcast is just gonna be me wheeze laughing.
No, but at the end of the day, I'm like, now I'm at the point where I'm like, I actually know Jesus, and if there ever was an issue, like you got to get to the point where you trust Jesus enough that if you ever were at the point where you may get to a place where Jesus would not, like you would not go in the rapture, you have to trust that he's going to help you. Like he's going to be like, hey, let's fix this, or hey, let's change this.
Yeah,
you know,
there's also like he's the good shepherd, and he goes after the one. He leaves the 99 for the one. Like if we stray, he cares enough about us to be like, hey, let's get back, and like, he corrects us and stuff like that. So that's important to remember.
And as long as we're not listening to Taylor Swift, we should be good.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, she's for sure on the list.
Yeah,
and Beyonce.
Yeah,
except for her new song. No, I'm just kidding.
Except for her country album that's coming out.
Country is God's music.
Wait, is she doing a whole album?
I think so.
Yeah.
I can't.
I think This Ain't Texas was like her
single.
Yeah.
But she's definitely from Texas.
I'm not rolling my
I
eyes.
just want to
promise.
say, not country music.
No.
Okay, I will. We
Catchy,
might,
yes. Country, maybe
No.
not.
does it have the sound of country? Sure. Yeah, but that's not country.
I think country music is one of those things where you have to be a country person to make country music. Like Lana Del Rey has talked about making country music. Like no, you can't. You physically can't.
Although, I did kind of like, I don't remember his name, but the guy that was from Hootie and the Blowfish. Well, you probably don't know who that is.
No, Darius Rucker. I know exactly who that is.
That makes me feel better. I thought for sure you were going to, who's Hootie and the Blowfish?
Prepared your heart.
What kind of a name is Hootie?
But I was going to say, he went country. You know, I kind of feel like both genres kind of fit him.
Yeah, like rock me, mama, like a wagon. That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, but Lana Del Rey don't make the cut.
No.
She's also a witch, I think. So
Double no.
well, no.
Like Taylor Swift started out as country and then she went to pop, but she did not start out as country, in my opinion. She just started out as pop, masquerading as country.
Yeah.
Country-ish pop. I
Yes.
did like her first album, though. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I
for
can rock.
There was the pop.
I haven't listened to any of her new music except for involuntarily what I've heard on TikTok, but like up to like 2015, that like all that music, I'm about it.
I will still scream "Picture to Burn." I remember being in 3rd grade and we were in our line walking to the cafeteria and like there was like a group of like 5 girls just singing "Picture to Burn."
Yeah,
We were like, this is great music.
3rd grade, all the boys gonna burn all their pictures.
I was for sure like 17.
So you actually got some pictures to burn, I bet.
No, not at 17.
Oh.
Jessica,
No, I was homeschooled, remember?
That is true.
I didn't date till I was like, I don't know, 19?
I was 11 with the 2012 End of the World stuff.
What?
I was 11 and through the 2012.
You're just saying things to hurt her now.
No, are you just trying to hurt my feelings?
But I feel like
I graduated high school in 2005.
Oh my god.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I was 7.
Whoa.
I was 7.
I was 4.
Gosh.
So I don't feel like you're that much older than us.
No,
so.
but you're like your character and your spirit is very young.
That means you're only 9 years older than me because I graduated in 16. So
Apparently a lot happened in 9 years, though.
I guess. But just to summarize, if you listen to Taylor Swift or Lana Del Rey, sorry, you can't come to the Rapture. You're uninvited.
uninvited.
You're not allowed to come.
Disclaimer, we're kidding.
Jesus
loves us all, okay, Karen?
just focus on just freaking having a relationship with Jesus. Stop trying to figure out when Jesus is coming back. He'll take care of it. Right?
I'm into
Is that fair?
If Jesus ain't trying to figure it out, then we shouldn't be trying to figure it out. You know what I'm
Dude,
saying?
you think Jesus is up there like conspiring?
He has like a big calendar and he has like X
Jesus
marks.
was up there like Y2K question mark? No. 2012?
Y2K in
No.
2012 marked out. It's September 23rd. And then just like a big question mark after that. He's waiting to hear from us. He's waiting to hear from Perry Stone.
He's like, Perry, you got any questions?
He's like, hear from the Lord. I'm trying to hear from you.
Do you think he has a room with like red thread, like just like
Oh my
pinpointed, just going different
Oh,
directions?
that is definitely not my Jesus.
I was gonna say something tells me Jesus is a lot more rest about it than we are.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If he's not trying to figure it out, we shouldn't be trying to figure it out.
Because that's what happens.
One church at the fan.